On the afternoon of June 7th of 1985, two farm workers were working at an orange orchard when they would discover a decomposed body, bound and wrapped in a blanket. The body was so badly decomposed, it was unclear to the authorities if the victim was male or female. The authorities believed the victim had been deceased for longer than a week. After learning the identity of the victim, the investigation would take twists and turns as to what happened, who did this, and why. Stick around as we discuss this case, the unsolved case of Tyra Garcia. Tyra Maria Garcia was born on February the 12th of 1970 to Ronald and Margaret Garcia. Growing up in Ventura, California, Tyra was blessed with loving siblings who were very close with one another. Growing up in a touristy coastal town, the community was very close-knit. Tyra was a freshman at Buena High School who would also have an ambitious mindset at an early age, as she planned on working an office job after school that she was very excited with starting. On May the 27th of 1985 was considered to be a great day for the family as they celebrated Memorial Day with each other. The family would head home in the evening around 10 p.m. and Tyra would then reach out to some friends. Tyra would then walk to a friend's house down the street around 11 p.m. without taking any of her belongings with her. She was headed to the friend's house because the friend needed a sitter that coming weekend. Tyra planned on coming back as she had school the next day as well as starting her new job. Tyra's mom and sister would see Tyra walking into the apartment building of her friend's home. Around 12 a.m., Tyra would then be seen in an alley that was right next to her home talking to two Hispanic males who were driving a lowrider car that was tan or light brown in color. It was reported that Tyra got into the vehicle with the two males. It should be noted that Tyra would have never got into a vehicle with men she was unfamiliar with. An employee at 7-Eleven, which is located in the strip mall close to Tyra's home, would state that they saw Tyra that night with the same two males and watched them leave together. Sometime after this, Tyra would be seen at a party that was located at Loop's Motel, which the motel has since changed its name. There were many in attendance, as many as close to 100 people. However, there were friends and family of Tyra's that did in fact see Tyra at the party, but did not see her leave. At the party, there was some underage drinking and some substances being used. However, there have been rumors of what Tyra used, but nothing has been confirmed. But we'll get into that later. On May the 28th of 1985, Tanya, Tyra's sister, wakes up and doesn't see Tyra at home. So she decides to look around the area for Tyra. When she doesn't see Tyra and cannot find her anywhere, she talks to her mom about filing a missing persons report on Tyra. Tyra's mom agrees, then heads to the police department. When Margaret, Tyra's mom, goes to the police department to file a report, the police refuse to file as they consider Tyra to be a runaway. They would then suggest for her to wait 48 hours to file. Wait to file a missing persons report on a 15-year-old? Let's keep going. The family was left with no choice but to put matters into their own hands by searching for Tyra on their own. Days would pass and no word from Tyra. But on June the 7th of 1985, around 1:30 p.m., two farm workers were working at an orange grove when they would find a decomposed body wrapped tightly in a blanket on the side of a cliff from Stockton Road. They would then immediately contact the authorities. The body would be later taken to the coroner's office. Tyra's aunt would hear of a body being found then would immediately talk to Tyra's mom about reaching out to the coroner's office in regards to the body. When Margaret was at the coroner's office, she would be asked of items that Tyra was last seen wearing, as it would have been too difficult to identify the body of being Tyra's due to the decomposition of the body. She would then recognize jewelry and clothing that Tyra wore when she last saw Tyra, which would be positively identified as being Tyra. The family would then start to make funeral arrangements for Tyra. The family would reach out to local organizations for assistance with the funeral arrangements but needed to provide the death certificate. Once the family was able to be provided the death certificate, it would show that Tyra's cause of death was suicide, which was far from the truth. Even the medical examiner and autopsy report always ruled her death as a homicide. So why was her death certificate labeled as a suicide? The answer? Clerical error. The family would reach out to outside advocates to facilitate the change in cause of death, which would ultimately be successful. However, there's more. Due to the negligence in preserving the crime scene and the coroner failing to do any testing, such as toxicology, rape kit, swabbing of the mouth, so on and so forth, caused the investigators to close the case within 3 days. So how would the family know what she consumed while attending the party at the motel? You tell me. After a while, there would be 2 composite drawings of the 2 males that Tyra was last seen with that night, but it is unclear as to where the drawings are located. Tanya did ask the investigators for a copy of the drawing, but she was told that the drawings didn't exist. Sadly, on March the 24th of 2018, Tyra and Tanya's mother would pass away before receiving justice for her daughter's murder. But Tanya refuses to give up and continues to fight. Many years would pass and no developments on Tyra's case until a few years ago. With Tanya's hard work and dedication to bringing justice to her sister Tyra's case, in 2021, her case was reopened, but there has been very little movement on this case. However, family and friends remain diligent in bringing awareness and possible leads to the case, such as utilizing social media and other resources. There has been very little media coverage on this case though. However, there are podcasting episodes that would go more in depth on this case, which will be linked in the description box. This case is truly heartbreaking and quite upsetting. Tyra was only 15 years old when she was murdered. The amount of investigation from the authorities in this case is truly awful. Tyra deserves justice. The family deserves answers. But if anyone knows or has any information in regards to Tyra's case, the information as well as the description of the 2 males she was last seen with will be provided in the description box. As always, thank you for spending some of your time here at the True Crime Spot. We'll see you in the next video.